whispers from the past. He knew it would.
Well, my name's Bruce Wallace. I'm from Bankerfelyn. I'm originally from Penarth. I'm going to tell you about my grandfather, Tom Wallace, and his pal, both from Penarth, and their experiences in the First World War and at Mametz Wood. These two Penarth men, first one was Harry Bird, and his pal then, Tom Wallace, was my grandfather. Harry lived in King Street, Penarth, and Tom lived just round the corner in Salop Street. They both joined on the same day, and they therefore have consecutive service numbers. Harry and Tom joined the 8th Battalion of the South Staffordshire Regiment. This became known as the Cardiff Battalion because of the amount of men from Penarth and Cardiff in it. Harry Bird was a good soldier and a brave man. Having joined in 1915, by the following year he was a company sergeant major, and he'd received the Distinguished Conduct Medal for conspicuous bravery in the field. The war diary for the regiment describes the events for which Harry received the DCM. They say that in February 1916 the battalion were erecting trenches at a place called Verbreden Molen, south of Ypres, where there was a mortar attack followed by the enemy trying to take the trench. His commander wrote the following citation: "For conspicuous gallantry when the enemy rushed an isolated trench, he saved the situation by collecting bombs and superintending the erection of stocks and barbed wire. During the whole operation, he set a splendid example to his company." So a few months later, on July the 1st, 1916, Harry Bird and my grandfather Tom Wallace were with the rest of the 8th Battalion of the South Staffordshire Regiment in the opening action of the Somme offensive. This took place in an area known as Mametz Wood in northern France. On the first day there were 60,000 casualties, and the 8th Regiment received about 50% casualties. During this battle, Harry Bird was severely wounded. He was conveyed back to the UK, but died of his wounds on the 18th of July 1916. He was brought back to Penarth and buried at St Augustine's Church on the 22nd of July 1916 with full military honours. At the graveside, a party of trumpeters sounded the last post. The firing company took up their positions and fired 3 volleys over the open grave. This was one of the largest attended funerals in Penarth for many years. There's a picture of Harry Bird there, the only picture I've got of him. In July 1916, my grandfather was fighting alongside Harry and the rest of the 8th Battalion in Mametz. He was lucky to be one of the 50% who survived. He also survived the rest of the Somme offensive. There's a picture of my grandfather, Tom Wallace, in his uniform before he went to the front. After another year at the front, Tom was actually captured in northeastern France and became a POW for the next 15 months until he was repatriated. He came back home to Salop Street in Penarth with 3 medals. There's 1, the Star, 2, the British War Medal, I think that's the right one, and a 3rd one, the Victory Medal, which has since been lost. In March 1919, Tom was a guest at a welcome home dinner for Penarth repatriated prisoners of war. He was one of 35 ex-POWs at the reception. He had a very busy spring because just following that he got married. The July 1916 Mametz Wood action resulted in the loss of 3 other Penarth men from the 8th Battalion, Private Thomas Williams from Morn Street, Sergeant Edward Beresford from Albert Road, and Private Andrew Coyle from King Street. 2 other Penarth soldiers also fought at the Somme offensive. Sergeant Palfrey from Station Road was severely wounded and lost a leg. Sergeant Samuel Pierce from Salop Street as well had fought there too. He survived the Great War, but went on to fight in the North Russian Relief Force and was awarded a posthumous Victoria Cross for his action supporting the White Russians. I'll finish by reading a poem I found from another soldier who fought at Memetswood, also called Harry. His name was Harry Fellows. And in July 1916, following the battle, he wrote this: "Shattered trees and tortured earth, the acid stench of decay, mingled bodies lying round the battle not far away. This man-made devastation, does man have no regrets? Does he pause to ask the question, will the birds sing again at Mamets?" Harry Fellows went back there in 1984 at the age of 88. And he wrote a couple of lines as a postscript to his poem as follows: "What a wondrous, pleasant sight unfolds before my eyes. A panoply of magnificent trees stretches upwards to the skies. Did someone help Dame Nature the sins of man to forget? Where once there was war, now peace reigns supreme, and the birds sing again at Mamets."